saw the ship. I saw the ship earlier that we're going to be on.
Interested in learning about the music of the regiment, please gather this way. I think it might just be you folks here, but that is perfectly fine. So music was very important to the lives of the soldiers here in the 1800s, and not just for entertainment. Yes, of course, we would need a little bit of that with just looking at all these gray walls all day, but its purpose was very regulatory. It helped us sort of live our lives in an easy way. We were too poor to afford clocks and watches and all of these things, so we would have to rely on musical cues to tell us when to do things. They would wake us up in the morning with a bugle call off the wall. They would send us to bed with the same thing. They would tell us it was time to get food, or it was time to get paid, or it was time to do really anything with a bugle call, letting us know that it was time. It was two sort of, it comes out into two parts. It would fit very nicely into your fife case here. All of the fifers also played the bugle. We would have one fifer bugler and one snare drummer per company, which is the size of about 100 men. So you would have to be versatile and able to put this down when you were focusing on your bugling. So we would put them in our case. Now here at Fort Henry, we normally have a large performance unit. We can't sort of do that stuff this year with COVID and all the safety precautions. But in those regular years, we use a different fife because they're easier for us to tune with our marching band going up and down the square. So it's like a very old-fashioned flute. Again, very high pitch to cut the sound of battle, but this one wasn't used for command and more for just songs. We would play marching songs to keep the men on the right feet as they walked up to battle, and it was very important to do so. If these men in this big, long line, about a mile long, of red coats, very thin, if they had started tripping over each other because they were taking too large of a pace or too small of a pace, or if they were on different feet from each other, they could trip over each other and fall down, knock that whole line down, or they could get out of sorts from this line, have lines above, back, in the middle, and then you can easily take them out with cavalry. You could section them off and make quick work of them. So it was very important in a quick call on this one, so you guys can hear that difference between infantry and artillery, what these men would be trained to listen for. Very bright, very high pitch. So the same call on the two bugles sounds a lot different because of their key, and you'd be able to hear that difference. And as I said, you were trained to hear the difference between these two groups.
Fire! Please gather this way! All right. Hello, everyone. How are we all doing today? Excellent. So today I'll be talking to you guys about these small firearms here at Fort Henry. These are what would have been used in the British military back in the time. So the year we are interpreting here at Fort Henry is 1867. And we have our most recent innovation, the Snyder Enfield right here. I'll be firing off 3 blank rounds at the end of this demonstration from this rifle right here. But to go back in time further to about the late 17th century, we have our oldest and most longly used in service weapon on this rack. Can anyone guess to which one this is right here? It's a flintlock, yes. The flintlock systematic action right here. This is the Brown Bess musket right here. So the musket it's a bit different than all the other guns on this rack right here. One notable difference is the smooth barrel on the inside. So all the other guns right here would have a rifled barrel where you have a bunch of little spirals on the inside that would be able to shoot the ground a lot more faster, further, more accurate. This one, however, though, smooth barrel, would not have been to shoot as far and was not as accurate as well. As well, one other thing that it would have that these ones don't have is a flintlock mechanism at the action right there. So this would have been the main ignition system of this weapon, where you'd have a piece of flint attached to the hammer right here, and you have the frizzen or the steel, which would get struck by the flint, creates a spark, this gun would be set off. But how to load and shoot off a round from the musket? Well, this weapon was a muzzle loading weapon, which means you'd have to load it from the muzzle or front range.